Hello, music lovers. My name is Christian. Today, I want to talk about parallel fifth and its related voice leading. Can we use parallel fifth? My answer is yes and no. However, for time being, I'm going to discuss the music theory from 17th and 18th century classical music. In this case, use of parallel fifth is prohibited. Sorry. First, let's define what fifth is. Here's C diatonic, and I'm going to add fifth above diatonic. You can see first six are perfect fifth, and the seventh one is diminished fifth. Then what makes parallel fifth? It's when you employ two or more consecutive perfect fifth. As you can see on the left, we have two consecutive perfect fifth, and on the right, we do have three consecutive perfect fifth. So these are parallel fifth. Then how about a combination of perfect fifth and diminished fifth? We call it unequal parallel fifth. And I'm going to talk about this in a minute. Before we begin with part writing, I want to briefly discuss pitch and pitch class. Pitch refers to specific pitch. As you can see, even 5 different notes are all C, but they share different pitches. C2, C3, C4, C5, and C6. Pitch class refers to any pitches that shares the same letter. That means C pitch class can be C in any octave. When we apply fifth in part writing, it is based on pitch class. That includes compound fifth. So C3 and G4 is technically an octave and perfect fifth, but it will be treated with pitch class concept. Therefore, it will be just perfect fifth. Perfect fifth can occur between any voicings. Bass and tenor, bass and alto, bass and soprano, tenor and alto, tenor and soprano, soprano and alto. Use of any parallel unison, octaves, and fifth is prohibited. The reason why parallel octave is prohibited is because it takes away from the independence of a melodic line. Also, perfect fifth is so consonants. The root and the perfect fifth blend so well, which gives us similar effects to perfect octave or unison and doesn't sound independent anymore. So let's examine some of the mistakes in part writings. Chord is moving from 1 to 5, E flat major triad to B flat major triad. What's the problem here? Look at soprano and alto. Octave approached by parallel motion, and that should be prohibited. Same chord progression. And what is the problem? Look at bass and alto. They're moving octave approached by parallel motion, and this should be prohibited. We have the same key here, but chords are moving from A flat to B flat, 4 to 5. And what's the problem here? If you take a look at bass and tenor, it's compound perfect fifth approached in parallel motion. The chords are moving from E flat to A flat, 1 6 to 4. Let's take a look at soprano and alto. The first two are perfect fifth. But are they parallel fifth? Nope. They are static, meaning perfect fifth is approached in stationary, not in parallel motion. How about tenor and alto? All three of them are perfect octaves, but they are static, so this is okay. Let's talk about use of unequal parallel fifth. You may move from perfect fifth to a diminished fifth. This is okay because it doesn't approach to a perfect interval in parallel motion. However, you cannot move from diminished fifth to perfect fifth because even though this is not strictly parallel fifth, the chord is resolved on perfect fifth, and that gives an effect of parallel fifth. And also with this chord progression, it's not really ideal how your tendency tones are resolved. Let's look at the music. The chords are moving from E flat to B flat, back to E flat, 1, 5 to 1. If you see soprano and tenor, they are moving from perfect fifth to diminished fifth. This is okay because chord is approaching to diminished fifth, not the perfect fifth. And now the chords are moving from E flat to D diminished, back to E flat. 1, 6, 7, 6, and back to 1. And what's the problem in this example? The tenor and soprano is moving from diminished fifth to perfect fifth, which is prohibited. Now let's talk about similar octave or fifth. Sometimes we call this hidden octave or hidden fifth. Number 1, this is only for the outer voicing, which is soprano and bass. Number 2, either octaves or fifth is approached in similar motion in outer voicing. Number 3 is when soprano is moving by lip. Look at the outer voicing, soprano and bass. Even though it's moving from sixth to octave, the octave is approached in a similar motion with the soprano moving by lip. On your right, your outer voicing is moving from third to octave. However, your soprano is moving by a step, so this is okay. The outer voicing here is moving from third to fifth. However, your soprano is moving by lip, so this is now okay. On your right, your outer voicing is moving from octave to fifth. However, your soprano is moving by a step, so this is okay. Now let's examine contrary fifth. This is when parallel fifth is moving in a contrary motion. Perfect fifth between A and E is moving in a contrary motion in the example. In part writing, only the bass and tenor can have these issues. Since top three voicings, let's say soprano and alto and tenor cannot be apart more than an octave from each other. For this reason, contrary fifth is the only issue between bass and tenor. After listening to the music, take time and find the issues with the voicings. There are so many problems and I don't even know where to begin. Let's look at first two notes of tenor. They are overlapping. The third note of first measure, bass and alto is moving in parallel fifth. The last chord in the first measure, the outer voicing was landing on perfect eighth, and soprano is moving by a lip. The very first two notes in outer voicings, they are moving in contrary fifth. The last chord in the first measure, between soprano and alto, there's a spacing issue. Finally, the last chord in the second measure, the outer voicing was landing on perfect fifth, and soprano is moving by a lip. Thank you for watching, everyone. I encourage all of you to keep practicing. For those who are a big fan of parallel fifth, I'm going to make another video to discuss how to use parallel fifth. Ciao!